And hello, good morning again. Welcome to this edition of Tyngsborough TV Live. This is edition number 3 for today. The reason for this one is we're chatting with master plan member, committee member Chaz Dowdy. He's going to talk to us about the upcoming master plan visioning session, where they're going to discuss a number of issues. They're actually kind of drilling down now on these visioning sessions to more specific topics. This one specifically coming up on March 13th, if you don't know already, is happening on, well, I just said on the 13th of March. It's happening at Old Town Hall. The discussion is going to revolve around economic development, land use, and housing. So before we get to the conversation, just remind everybody, if you want to watch this broadcast, you can watch it on multiple places on Facebook, on all the pages we share it on, and provided Facebook doesn't delete our video for some reason. You can also watch us on YouTube. On both of those platforms, you can chime in and ask questions, so feel free there. You can also watch us at Comcast 8, Verizon 29 here in the town of Tyngsborough. And finally, you can watch us at tyngsboroughma.gov on our live video on demand and streaming service. So you can check us out a whole bunch of different ways, and you can, like I said, interact and watch the show and comment and all that fun stuff. So my guest, as I mentioned, is Master Plan Committee member Chaz Dowdy. Chaz, thank you for coming on today.
The pleasure's mine. Always nice to chat with you, Steve.
Likewise, sir. So we are going to talk about Master Plan. So let's start from the beginning about Master Plan. Just give me a quick elevator speech. What is the Master Plan for folks?
Well, there are two things that guide the town development. One is the zoning bylaws, and the other is the Master Plan. Mm-hmm. The Master Plan is sort of a vision of the future of what we want Tyngsborough to look like. It's created by members of the town, citizens, and their input to kind of guide the leadership of the town to decide where we want to go in the future.
Okay. And so quickly, too, before we move on, for folks who are interested in the details of this, you can go to the website, tyngsboroughma.gov. There is a specific page for it. Actually, I'm going to go bring you right there real quickly. Right on the homepage is a banner, so if you want to find out where and when the visioning session is happening, you can also click on that banner, and it will take you to the department page. So if you want to show that real quick, Race, I'm just switching on the computer to the other page. And it'll give you all of the details as far as the master plan and what's going on. So if you want to reread what Chaz just said, basically, get a little more in-depth detail, you can do that. So getting back to conversation now. So it's obviously very important for the town. It's something that'll help guide the town, as you said, for the next, it lasts for a decade, right? It's kind of the shelf life of it, more or less.
Theoretically,
right.
We're like 15 years from the time last time we did one.
Okay.
So.
But I mean, it's still useful information.
Absolutely.
It can stick around.
Absolutely.
And I imagine in talking to you guys, there's things on the master plan that maybe didn't happen or hadn't been gotten to because of whatever reasons there were. So those things get carried forward onto a new master plan, or they might anyways if people want to?
Certainly. I mean, the overriding thing that we're seeing from the master plan is people want to maintain Tyngsborough as a small town feel, a rural community. Mm-hmm. They don't want it built out. They want it built out, but in a way that preserves the feel of the town that we have.
The small town character kind of thing.
Absolutely. People love that, and
they really do. Yeah.
And that's the challenge that that the boards face is how do we, put in economic development and develop the town in a way that stays and maintains that character of quality of life.
Mm-hmm. So I've mentioned this last time we chatted, but this is basically residents' opportunity to kind of give their hopes and dreams for the town, what they would like to see it look like. Whether your big goal is good schools or more parks or roads or, no more residential development, let's say, or commercial development or so on. This is your opportunity to voice those opinions.
And we've had one vision, what we call a visioning session.
Right.
And that visioning session sort of highlighted the strengths and weaknesses of the town and things that we want to see.
Mm-hmm. Right, you did a SWOT analysis of that.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So just like doing what do you call it? Yeah, it was good. It was a good discussion. You got a lot of information out of that.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. I think everybody who went and participated had a good time, and we had a fairly good turnout. I'd like to see a better turnout for the next one, and I'd like to see these things sort of snowball and have more and more people involved, so that we get more of a a better cross mix of different people that are coming, not just the same group showing up over and over again, because then that group is going to decide where the town goes, and we really would like to have a much better participation from the town.
So basically a master plan is a strategic plan for the town, basically, right?
Yeah, it's kind of an overview of where we want to see the town go and how we want to see it developed.
Okay.
And And that really is, like I said, it stands along with the bylaws as to how, how we would like to see things progress here.
Okay.
Tyngsborough, it's sort of, we're at a crossroads, and a lot of towns have been developed up into our town now.
Right.
And over the last 40 years, we were slowly coming along, but the pressure of the last 40 years is really starting to show now. The town is really, we have 3 exits off of Route 3, which means that, a lot of people want to have that and develop property along the Route 3 corridor. We're minutes from Nashua, which sort of hinders a lot of things that we can do in as far as sales tax and that kind of thing, and what kind of businesses we can bring into town.
Right, yeah, retail, I imagine, is a tough one to attract because
Yep.
they can go across the border, which is literally like 30 seconds that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
get tax-free, so that's going to be a tough one,
Which
right?
of course we all do.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I'm definitely guilty myself. So you're going to have there was 4 visioning sessions planned altogether. We've had the first one.
Yep.
What was some of the big items that came out of the first visioning session that you recall?
Well, the main theme was that we want to be very careful in how we do our development in town. We don't want it to be, we don't want to give the town away, I guess, really, is sort of what came out of it. Maintaining the small town feel, the quality of life that we have here. Those are the kind of things that really came to the forefront of the visioning session, the last one that we had.
Okay.
Preserving open space, managing our economic development,
Okay.
housing, and so forth. So.
Now, other items are on there as well, such as roads.
Yeah,
and
well,
things
roads,
like
of course,
that,
is always a big one.
Right.
As we all know, most of our roads are in
I'll tell you,
kinda tough
the
shape.
front end of my car knows, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little rough, but so it's neat to see that the town is working on this because it, like you said, it helps guide the town for the next, however long you want to make it last, 10 years to 15 maybe.
Yep.
Now it's not just the town that's involved in this, correct? There's also NEMCOG helping with this process.
Yeah, NEMCOG really is helping lead the way. They do this for many towns in the area. They just finished one, I believe, in Dunstable, and so it's almost like a template that they have to sort of ask the right questions and bring out the answers that they're looking for to help build this thing for us.
And so they kind of guide it, basically, guide the
Absolutely,
process.
yes.
And for folks who don't know, NEMCOG is the North Middlesex Council of Governments.
That's correct.
I don't know exactly what they do, but I know the acronym, so I remembered that part.
Well, a lot of towns use them for projects like this,
Right,
and they're really good at gathering data, economic data, housing data,
Okay.
things like that
Okay.
that will all go into the master plan as
So-
sort of appendixes and so forth.
So they're a good clearinghouse for information then, basically, for towns in terms of specifics.
Yes.
Like you said, economic data, and I imagine they track housing and all that other kinds of stuff, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now, coming out of this next visioning session happening on the 13th, so it's specific, like we said, you're kind of drilling down to the more nitty-gritty of specifics in this economic development, land use, and housing. I guess, how is the discussion going to go? What's the sort of plan for the meeting?
So my understanding is that it's going to be sort of a round table,
Okay.
sitting set up 10 tables or 20 tables or whatever it's going to be, and then have groups of people sitting at those tables, and then there'll be a series of questions that will be asked, and you will rate those questions as far as importance,
Okay.
and then give the feedback to MCOG, and then they'll take that and digest it and give it back to us. Then we'll have another meeting at the end of the month of the committee and see what it looks like.
Okay. Do you
So-
know when the next visioning session after this one is planned? Do you have the date offhand?
I don't have a date,
Okay.
but the next visiting session will be sometime in August,
Okay.
and that will be natural, cultural resources, open space and recreation. And then the final one would be in November, and that would be transportation, facilities, and services.
Okay. Just so folks
So-
can plan, they can at least mark their calendars and know that these are going to be coming up soon.
Yep.
Now, this is what you just described as far as the meeting. This is basically the reason why we're not going to actually be filming this meeting, because it's very difficult to film it and have it make sense for the viewer as to what's going on.
Right.
Even the last one was a little bit, it wasn't as bad, but because there was one gentleman from NEMCOG speaking at a podium, but then it kind of got to just yell out your idea, your item, whatever it is. So it made it difficult for us to get that point across on TV, because it was just basically people calling out from all over the room. So it made it a little tricky, but this one even less so, is even less TV broadcastable, just because of the fact that it's a general discussion amongst a big round table,
Yep.
which if you've ever done video, literally is like the worst thing to try to film. Seriously, I've tried to do a few of these, and it's really, really tough to make it make sense anyways, that is, because like it's just people going around a room basically talking. So so I just want to let people know that we're not going to be broadcasting this one. So you'll actually have to go to this meeting in order to take part in it. However, there's surveys going out, correct? We have surveys also that you can take part in?
Yes, there's a survey that's online right now that we really encourage everyone to take. If it takes 5 minutes, you're spending too much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a 2-minute survey,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 20 questions, and just an overall view of what you feel about Tyngsborough,
Mm-hmm.
what you like, what you don't like, what you'd like to see improved, and what your vision of the future is.
Mm-hmm.
And that will help us guide where we're going with the master plan committee. So.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's your opportunity too. If you can't make the meetings, whether it's the visioning sessions or the master plan meetings that happen here at Town Hall, you can take the surveys and be able to give your feedback that way. So at the very least, you can have some input on this thing. Would you say it would be a good idea for all residents to take part in this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The more the merrier, because there's such a cross diversification of people in town,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to hear from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want this to be 100 people deciding what the future of the Tyngsborough is going to look like.
Right. Yeah.
It's just not the way it should be.
It shouldn't be in a vacuum, as they say.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely want as much input as you can. So
Yeah.
if you have time, we're going to post the link to the survey after we finish with this video. We'll post it in the description. Let's hope Facebook doesn't delete our video again like the last one, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Anyways, we'll post the link there, and you guys can click on that link and go and take the survey. Like you said, it only takes a couple minutes. I went and I didn't take the survey because I don't live in town, but I went and looked at the survey. They're pretty simple questions.
Yeah.
And it will probably take you less than 3 minutes to take the survey, and that's if you're going slowly, I think.
Yep.
You'll get through it pretty quickly. So definitely want participation on that. I know the numbers weren't as good as hoped. You got a good amount. I mean, it was a decent for at least what you had heard at the last meeting, but we don't have an updated number, unfortunately, since we shared it out.
It is a good start,
Yeah.
and we are going to close the survey because we need to probably by the end of the month.
Okay.
So we need to have the input now,
Okay.
so that we can take that data and we can incorporate it into the master plan.
I had reached out to our town planner, and he said they're going to extend it to the 18th of this month. So that literally gives you 10 days to take the survey between now and then. So definitely take that survey sooner rather than later, because that's going to, like you said, they're going to close it out.
Right.
So eventually they need to stop so they can, tabulate all the answers and whatnot. But yeah, definitely take that survey. You got a couple weeks or a week and a half anyways to take it. What else? What other kinds of things are happening, at least as far as the meetings have been going? Has there been any sort of like an outline created or any items added to the master plan at this point?
So, like I said, NEMCOG does these, and they've got a template that they really kind of work from. And one meeting will flow into the next one as far as how we're working this. And it seems to be going well. One of the things that I would like to see is sort of a focus on the town center, because the town center seems to be one of the things that people are very concerned about, how that gets developed.
That's been a buzzword lately, the town center. There's a lot of people talking about that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah,
and,
true.
We've got some empty buildings, the Winslow School and the library, and how we're going to use those. Of course, we're spending a good amount of money on the meeting house and rehabbing that.
Yep.
Town hall, the old town hall is done, but the lower pond and the actual development around the First Parish Meeting House, that's all underway, and hopefully we'll be done at some point. And just, with the big summer party we had there last year, and we've got one planned again this year.
Right, yeah,
I mean,
August 25th.
It's a focal point of the town, and
Yeah.
as it should be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are concerned about how that gets developed, and rightly so.
Right.
So,
Well, you have multiple different parties. You have people who live right next to it, abutters. The traffic and all that, the cars, vehicles that drive through that area, the buildings, the historical ones that are in that area as well. I imagine it's difficult balancing because you have, and later today actually you get to see, because we're going to do a video at one of the buildings right near there. The challenge is because the age of some of the buildings are such that, in condition, are such that they're just not even salvageable at this point in some cases. So maybe not letting the Winslow School get to that point to where it's not salvageable is a big one, like you said, finding a use for it.
Yep.
But then what is the use? Does it become a town building? Does it become, retail, commercial, housing? You know what I mean? And this is where where your master plan really comes in.
Well, and I brought that up the other night at the meeting. I said, we really ought to take a tour of these buildings and walk through them and see how we can do that. And
right.
And the answer from MCOG was, well, really, no, we don't drill down that low. We really just want to have a sort of a high level of what we're doing.
Okay.
And I kind of thought about that and said, well, okay, but I would really like to like to drill down a little bit and make some recommendations that, maybe that would be a good place for, the town hall, which we're rapidly outgrowing here. Maybe we should move that over to the Winslow School and rehab that. Just a thought off the top of my head, but something to use that and have that become a real functioning building again.
Well, and I imagine too the public safety building must get thought of in some of those as well, because that's something that clearly both of our chiefs are very interested in, and I'm sure a number of other folks as well. So taking some things like that, maybe it could be, like you said, it could become a new town hall, and then where we're sitting now in this town hall could be a new public safety building area or something like that. I mean, I know I've heard that floated a little bit, but yeah, thinking about some of the projects that are upcoming. As far as the master plan right now, what do you have for information? Has there been any big, major developments, things that are really at the forefront, or you think will end up kind of at the forefront of the master plan to this point?
We're really at the beginning of this process.
It's too early. Okay, and too early to tell.
Have something like that come through? Not yet.
Yeah.
No, we're only 4 meetings into it. 4 of what will probably be 16, 18, somewhere around there, if you include the visioning sessions too.
Okay.
So too early to tell, but I'll be happy to come back and update everyone.
All right, that sounds good.
As we see things starting to develop. But the overall theme, like I said earlier, was really maintaining the small town feel and the quality of life that we have right now.
Okay.
Some of the things that I think we'll be looking at would in the land use and so forth would be, we've got a lot of property that's zoned commercial and industrial, and is that really realistic at this point? Commercially, where we're so close to Nashua, maybe that commercial space could be used as something different. Maybe the industrial space should be used as something different. So those are things that will come up, and that this next visioning session I think we will discuss about.
Makes me wonder about so areas like Middlesex Road, on the way into Nashua, where you've, like we just said, 30 seconds up the road you can go to tax-free New Hampshire. We have storefronts or little plazas that are underutilized, let's say, and then you cross over to Nashua, and a lot of them, the majority of them, are filled up. So that must be difficult to try to imagine. It's difficult for administration to try to attract in, businesses, because people talk about, you want to maintain the small town character. Well, you also, they also want more tax money. So it's like you want retail or you want commercial, but then how do you get them here? How do you, how does the master plan help them get in here? Does it even help them get in here?
Well, the visioning sessions and so forth have been very helpful to try and this next one we'll be discussing in economic development in detail as to what we would like to see. I mean, for a while it looked as though Middlesex Ave would become Restaurant Row.
Right.
And in a certain way,
to an extent it is.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
But that could be expanded upon, especially not once we get the infrastructure of the sewer going in there.
Right.
Sewer
That's
and
true.
water
That could
is
help.
it's going to be huge.
Yeah.
That'll be an economic boom for that area.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So, and I think a lot of businesses are sort of saying, well, all right, once they put that in, then we would really consider Tyngsborough.
Yeah. So it's a fascinating process, and quite honestly, if you're not involved or even read up on it a little bit, I would personally highly advise you to go take a look at the website, tyngsboroughmade.gov. Maybe watch some of the meetings that have happened. We have been recording these meetings, filming them, and they are available on video on demand. So if you're curious as to what's been discussed, what's been talked about, the first visioning session is available online as well. It's not the best thing to watch. It's kind of tough because when it gets to the general calling out stuff, you can't hear much, unfortunately. But that said, you can at least kind of get an idea, get a sense of what's been going on, what's been discussed. But as a resident, if you can't make the meetings, just take the surveys at the very least. Take those surveys and help get some information, help guide this, because like I said, this is your opportunity. This is your hopes and dreams time. You can literally say, I want this, I want that, I'd love to see this. And those things will be at least taken into consideration with that master plan. And I imagine depending on how many people are repeating those things, they might just very well make it in there. You never know. But this is your opportunity, really. I mean, it only happens once every 10 years, 15-ish sometimes too. So, go and take that survey. If you can make it out on the 13th of March at Old Town Hall, it's at 7 p.m. What do you think? 2-hour meeting, roughly, give or take?
If that.
If that?
Yeah,
okay.
Probably an hour and a half, I guess. And a lot of the stuff we're posting online too. Yep. The results of the first visioning session are all online. You can take a look at those at the town website.
Okay.
We've got our own little section there, and it's fascinating the stuff that comes back and how they do it.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't kid when I say this really is a fascinating process, because you're really hearing what everybody wants. All these little nitty gritty things, which is kind of cool. Where you'd like to see, and you get to vision like, wow, Tyngsborough could be. I mean, it's a great town already, but it could be incredible in 10 years or whatever. Depending on what's been put into that plan. How many? Well, it's not a good question, I guess. How much of the master plan actually ever gets enacted, or let's say how much of the last master plan actually got put into physical, being? It actually came about.
Well, it's kind of a living, growing document.
Mm-hmm.
I think, to give you a percentage, I really couldn't do that. But I think the overall vision seems to remain the same.
Okay.
But from the last one and what I'm seeing, things that are still important to us.
Okay, so that seems you just kind of get the tenor for the town. What were there any items though that didn't happen in the last master plan that you can think of off the top of your head?
Well, like I said, a lot of the things are still kind of hanging out there. Like, what do we do with the Winslow School?
Okay,
what
right,
do we
that's
do
one
with
of
the
them.
library?
Yeah.
How do we continue to develop the town center? And there's some things that have been taken care of. The old town hall's been rebuilt.
Okay.
We've purchased the first parish meeting house, and that's being redone. And those things were part of the master plan as well. So.
Okay, very good. So again, lots of really interesting information. This is a fascinating process, and if you're a town resident, you really only once every 10 to 15-ish years you're going to get to actually take part in this and do these processes. So do it now. Definitely, now's the opportunity. Yeah. How long does this last for? How long will the master plan process be until the end?
The middle of next year it will
middle
be
of
completed.
Next year. Okay,
yes.
So June, July time frame, somewhere in there.
And then we'll have that done, and it'll go to the planning board for review and approval, and then I believe it goes to the town meeting and gets voted upon to be accepted.
Okay. So ultimately, what will come out of this is a plan. The residents will see this at the town meeting, fall town meeting, or something like along those lines, or maybe the following spring, depending on when they go for it. Actually, does it have to go to town meeting, or is this a selectmen's vote? I forget this now.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I want to say it actually was, if I remember right, it was the selectmen that can actually vote this in. You know what? We'll get some information on that for you, just to double check. I can't recall exactly. We had a conversation months ago now, so I'm missing that one. That piece of data is lost, but too many other things rattling around up there. Anyways, March 13th is the second visioning session over at Old Town Hall, 7 p.m. Definitely check it out. Ray Sam, can you bring up that slide one more time on the computer really quickly, just so we can show folks at home? So there you go. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, sbrogan@tyngsboroughma.gov. I'll do the best I can to get an answer. You can also send questions in through Facebook, and you can go to the website, tyngsboroughma.gov, and you can click on the banner. It's right at the top on the front page, and that will take you to this page that you're looking at right now, so that you can get some more information on the master plan. Again, really fascinating process. Everybody should be taking part in this. It's super easy. The meetings are actually they're not like a typical meeting like you'd watch here in the selectmen's room. They are much more fun, I think. It seems to me, anyways, because it's just discussion, and you get to, like I said, you get to throw out your hopes and dreams and your thoughts and your ideas. So that's not as rigid as like a regular formal meeting. So it's a fun way to take part in stuff happening in your town, take part in the process, and learn about what other people think too, as well as put your own thoughts out there, but what other people's ideas are. Because I'm sure there's been lots of really cool stuff that's come out even to this point for ideas, things people want to see done. So I remember from that last meeting anyways, there was some pretty interesting ideas. But again, take part in the process, and if you can, come out March 13th to Old Town Hall. And if you can't, take the survey. Again, I'm going to put it in the description section, so you can at least click on that and go and take the survey. It takes like 3 minutes, if that.
Yep.
Yeah. So spend some time, do that, help your community out. Chaz, thank you very much for coming on and chatting with us.
I look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday night.
There we go. Yeah.
It's coming right up. So
yeah, it's coming up quick, very, very quickly, actually.
See you Wednesday.
All right. And thanks again, everybody, for watching. And also don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. It really helps to get this information out to your community and beat up Facebook and YouTube's algorithm so that people actually see the stuff, which is nice. Thanks to everybody for commenting and liking and all that other stuff too. There's a lot of people actually watching, so which is good. So again, have a good one, everybody, and we will see you on March 13th at 7 p.m. at Old Town Hall. And if not, take that survey. All right. Take it easy, everybody. Bye.